when you take your oath of office, you don't take together. You take it as yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Judge Michael.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the court and maintain silence. Mr. Prosecutor, please proceed from where we adjourned for a health break.
Your Honor, according to the plaintiffs and volume of evidence in our possession, a copy of which is on your desk, the judiciary is accused of being used by conspirators and their accomplices within and without the judiciary, who were hell-bent at denying the plaintiffs justice. Schemers and conspirators who possessed a whole range of outrageous Machiavellian maneuvers and who finally succeeded in their unlawful and illegal acts against the plaintiffs. Judicial officers, staff and officers of court who conducted themselves in a manner that violated the code of conduct that they signed with the defendant direct and indirect employees whose misconduct resulted in gross injustice to the plaintiffs. In the process, courtesy of the said misconduct, the plaintiffs lost investments worth billions of shillings. With the court's leave, I will proceed to read the names of the said persons and the complaints against them.
Please proceed, Mr. Prosecutor.
1. Your Honor, the defendant, in exercise of its legal mandate, appointed the following judicial officers and judiciary staff. Honorable Ms. Winfrida Boyani Mokaya, Honorable Kennedy Candit, Honorable Ms. Lorraine Ogombe, Honorable Ms. Daisy Mutai, Honorable E. Riani, Honorable Felix Combo, Honorable Stella Atambo, Honorable A. Mwichigi, Mr. Muchimi Mbaka, who is Senior Legal Counsel at the Office of the Chief Justice, and 1 Ms. Cherop, who is a staff in the Court of Appeal Registry. Your Honor, the defendant has the power to discipline judicial staff, including registrars, magistrates, and other judicial officers, as per the Constitution of Kenya. This power is derived from Article 172, 1c of the Constitution of Kenya and is further operationalized through the Judicial Service Act and the regulations thereunder, enabling the JSC to receive complaints, investigate them, and take appropriate disciplinary action, including their removal from office. 2. Further, the defendant, through its employees, and upon being satisfied as to the qualifications, service, and moral fitness of the following person, granted an order admitting him to the role of advocates. Mr. Ronald Mullamy, of Mullamy and Company Advocates. The defendant, through its employees, that is, the Chief Justice, or a judge of the High Court, or a court of equal status, has powers under Section 56 of the Advocates Act, to discipline an advocate whose conduct is deemed unbecoming. 3. Further, the defendant, through its employees, specifically the Chief Justice, appointed the following person as Commissioner for Oaths. Mr. Biruhanga MacRonald. The defendant, through its employees, specifically the Chief Justice, has powers under the law to discipline a Commissioner for Oaths or revoke such appointment if the conduct of such a commissioner for oaths is deemed unbecoming. 4. Further, the defendant, through its employees, licensed the following person to be a process server whose role is to serve court documents such as summons, orders, and complaints. Mr. Benson Ingunzi. Upon such licensing, the above-named became an officer of the court and is accountable to the court for proper execution of his duties. The defendant, through its employees, Chief Justice, or a judge of the High Court, or a court of equal status, has powers under Rule 40, Section 1A, Subsection 3 of the Civil Procedure Act to discipline a process server for violating court rules or laws related to service of legal documents. Such disciplinary action includes imposing sanctions, such as monetary fines, or even contempt of court proceedings. 5. Further, the defendant, through its employee, that is, the Chief Justice, appointed and/or nominated for appointment majority of the following members of Auctioneers Licensing Board: Honourable Felix Combo, Honourable Stella Atambo, Honourable A. Mwichigi, Mr. L.J.W. Mwangi, Mr. E. Obura, Mr. Justus Mutia, Mr. R.S. Malenje, Mr. G.M. Kinuthia, Mr. A.S. Madazi, Mr. D. Kirui, and Mr. N.M. Wanjao. Consequence to the aforesaid, the Auctioneers Licensing Board licensed the following auctioneer, whose activities it is mandated by law to supervise and to discipline in case of unbecoming conduct: Mr. Jovan Kariuki, who trades as Moran Auctioneers. Upon such appointment, the above-named became an officer of the court. An employee of the defendant, specifically a judge or a magistrate, has powers under the law to discipline, suspend, and even impose penalties against the above-named, including fines or imprisonment for misconduct. The above-named, who are direct and/or indirect employees of the defendant or hold their offices, positions through the actions of the defendant's employees, individually and/or jointly conspired to defeat the cause of justice through gross misconduct, gross malpractices, gross negligence of duty, abuse of office, and gross bias against the plaintiffs during the institution, commencement and hearing of case number ELRC 788 of 2019 and COA 181 of 2023, acts which contravene the Judicial Code of Conduct and Ethics and other relevant laws which the defendant had a duty to enforce on the above-named persons, but which it neglected to do, resulting in gross injustice against the plaintiffs. Their acts of misconduct is well documented in the voluminous plaint and list of documents filed in suit number E166 of 2025 at the High Court of Kenya, a copy of which is in our possession. An image of the same is also displayed on the screen before this court. By reason of the aforesaid acts of gross misconduct by the defendant's said employees, staff and agents, the plaintiffs suffered immense damages and losses, whose particulars are as follows. 1. US dollars 105,660,959, being the value of lost business opportunities for 10 years for the first plaintiff. This is according to documents filed in High Court, and copies of which are in our possession. 2. US dollars 45 billion, being the second plaintiff's value of its auctioned computers, equipment, furniture, software programs, and lost business opportunities for 10 years, according to documents filed in the High Court, and copies of which are in our possession. 3. US dollars 11 billion, 544,710,000 only, being the third plaintiff's value of its auctioned computers, equipment, furniture, software programs, and lost business opportunities for 10 years. And last but not least, US dollars 5 billion and 700 million only, being the fourth plaintiff's lost income for 10 years, which includes salaries, dividends, and loyalties. Again, This is according to documents filed in the High Court, and copies of which are in our possession. Your Lordship, given the foregoing, the plaintiffs claim and pray for judgment against the defendant, Judicial Service Commission, who is the employer of the above-named employee, as follows: A. General damages. B. Special damages amounting to US dollars, 56,600 million only. C. Aggravated damages of US dollars, 5 billion only. And D. Costs of this suit. They are also claiming interest thereon for A, B, C, and D at bank rate, and any other relief that the court hearing the matter may deem fit to grant. That is all, Your Lordship. Thank you.
Very sad indeed. What a big shame, not just for Kenya, but for Africa as a whole. When a judiciary subjects investors and entrepreneurs to such painful ordeals, how will it itself survive, given that employers are vital to an economy because they create jobs, drive economic activity, contribute to overall societal well-being, and even contribute to tax revenues that fund public services? Is it not revealing that the judiciary, which is expected to epitomize the rule of law, justice, and fairness, is one of the key public organs that criminals rely on to destroy its very best? Is it not ironical that after destroying its very best, African then shamelessly goes with begging bowls to seek all manner of support from countries which prioritize respect to the rule of law and put in place stable and predictable legal and regulatory frameworks? The curse of Africa. Very sad day for investors.
All rise.